Usually what happens is the party doesn't return to their local village because too much has happened. They've seen too much, so they travel to a faraway land, a peaceful land, somewhere beautiful, with like 3 waterfalls or something, and they all start again. Together.
Do you think that could be real? For us?
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever been watching a show and a character says something and you go, that's a death flag? That character just signed their own death warrant. And that is a level of foreshadowing that we are not prepared for in any way, shape, or form. Because when Mike was talking to Eleven, and he was basically telling her about the journey after the campaign is essentially done, where the heroes have finally defeated the giant villain and they move on and explore the world and essentially live happy lives. I instantaneously went, if that is not a sign that his character is going to die by the end of this series, I don't know what is. Because when you rationally sit back and you think about all of the main cast of characters, Dustin, I don't see Dustin dying. If anything, I feel as though as the part 2 and then the epilogue, which is, feels like it's a movie, but it might just be like a mini series thing where it's like 2 hours long, so they don't want to call it a movie. I feel as though his character is going to go through the trauma of Eddie's death. He's going to be able to resolve that, and then he's going to take that, internalize it, and become something better once Vecna has essentially been defeated. For Lucas, I don't see Lucas dying. We got pretty close with him inside the cave going up against the Demogorgon, but at the exact same time, I don't see his character dying in this series. I feel as though his character and Max's character are being built up for the 2 characters that are going to be in the heartwarming, loving reunion that you would have expected from Mike and Eleven's character, but you're not going to get. They're going to be the reconnection that is going to be like that little boost for fans being happy. Something to cheer about is Max essentially waking up after escaping Vecna's mental prison and being able to reunite with Lucas and probably live a happy, comfortable life with Lucas. But then you get to the main 3. You get to 11, you get to Mike, and you get to Will. And that's when it really does start to get complicated. Because when you take a step back and you look at Will's character seems to be going on a specific arc that is either going to lead him, and I put this in another video, it's either going to lead him to essentially staying in the Upside Down, where he does not return with the main cast because he may sacrifice himself in order to save both Mike and Eleven, or his character might, in all honesty, die. And I feel as though his character's growth and the journey that he is currently going on doesn't seem to end with his character's death. It feels more like they're setting his character up for something bigger, something grander, but something that leads to him being in a situation like Loki at the end of season 2 of his show, where he sacrifices himself for his friends. He survives, but he's now like the lonely god on an island watching over a sea of monsters. Then you have 11 and Mike's character, and I think reuniting 11 with her sister and fellow experiment, I don't remember if she's 8 or 9. I feel as though she's 9, but at the same time I feel as though she might also be 8. She's somewhere in there. That's setting up that character who has been under lock and key to probably die, and it's also setting up the final clash between both 11 and 1, where her and Will are probably going to end up taking him down. And then her character doesn't seem as though it's going to die due to the fact that she's basically the figurehead for the show. The entire show is structured around her and her journey. But as we go through her journey, we fill in the blanks that we were unaware of before, like how the journey originally began, how she came to be, and how her character is essentially being set up to end what she had initially started. But then there's Mike. And when Mike was having that conversation with her, I was like, yo, I have watched a lot of fantasy shows. I've also watched a lot of sappy romance movies. And anytime a character is explaining to the person that they love the most, this early on in the season, about how once this journey is over, they're going to go off and they're going to live this grand life and they're going to be happy and they're going to see the world. That character has signed their own death flag. That character is not coming back. They're not seeing the finale. They're probably going to die the episode before the finale and be the catalyst that gives the other two main characters the boost that they need to kill the big bad and put down the big bad. And I thought three things could be true. That Mike's premonition, what he essentially told 11, could in all honesty come to pass, where he dies. He sacrifices himself to save both Will and 11 in some way, shape, or form. He goes on to go see the world the way in which he wanted her to, the way in which he wanted to take her. But at the exact same time, his death forces Will to make a choice that leads to him essentially staying in the Upside Down, away from all of his friends, kind of jailing all of the monsters and making sure that they don't jump over into the human world and just start running amok. Don't quote me on this. It's a theory. Like most of the videos that I make here, it is in part a theory. But I do not see Mike Wheeler surviving to the end of this. I feel as though the conversation he also had with his sister, talking about the cleric and about how the cleric has the ability to bring people back, I feel as though that's going to come into play in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how it's going to come into play, whether or not she's also going to tap into Vecna's powers to revive someone that he may or may not have killed. It might be that her powers are going to come into play where she uses her connection to Vecna to open up the connection he has to Max's body, allowing Max to be revived. But then in doing so, this may also lead to Mike dying in some way, shape, or form. But we'll see whether or not that card plays itself. But from the way in which they're talking and the way in which it's looking, I don't think Mike Wheeler survives. I think that we have reached a point now where every single member of the Wheeler family has been injured or has been fighting, but none of them has taken an L. And due to the fact that before this season came out, they were talking about how there was going to be a major death in the main cast, it really does seem, I'm gonna say 93% of it does seem as though Mike is going to be the character that dies, and 11 is not going to get the happy ending that she wants, and neither is Will. Like, those three characters are just going to be cursed in some way, shape, or form to essentially suffer at the end of this season, and it really is going to be bittersweet. But let me know what you guys think. Am I insane? I probably am. I like talking about this show. We've been talking about this show for all the years in which it's been coming out, and it's really great that they broke things up, because it gives people time to essentially speculate and consistently break the internet over and over and over and over and over again. But comment down below, let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.